Yeah, I was real grumpy last year.
We have two-time MLF champion, Bassmaster Classic qualifier, and currently sitting in third place in Progressive Bassmaster Angler of the Year points, Dakota Ebare. But that's not all. We are also joined with another installment of Byron's Bunker with Byron Velvick. Both of them join me this week. Oh.
I'm Bob Cobb from the Bassmaster. Welcome to Mercer.
Welcome one, welcome all, friends, family, freeloaders, fishing freaks, and of course you, my humpers. Happy hump day to all of you, and welcome back into the Awkwardly Honest Fishing Podcast that goes by my last name, which is Mercer. This is the 266th edition of the Mercer Podcast. Now, wherever you're watching or listening from, that life is treating you well. Moment of total honesty as you watch this. I am not here, God willing. I am on my way, or if not already in North Carolina, for the seventh stop of the 2026 Progressive Bassmaster Elite Series on the Pasquotank River. A challenging fishery that, well, wasn't a challenge for Kyle Welcher last time, won by over 45 pounds, but a much different tournament just a few months later. It's going to be a lot hotter. And ironically, last time we were there in May, and it wasn't that hot. I think we're going there now because anglers believed that the wind would blow less. I mean, and I don't blame them because the tournament, basically is on the ocean. If you spend any time on social media, you've seen people posting pictures of dolphins and flounders and all sorts of such while pre-fishing for a bass tournament. But the fishing is phenomenal. It is a problem traversing giant waves to get to those fish. Kyle Welcher didn't have to do that. He fished literally right where we did take off. But I don't know if that's going to happen this time around with, being 2 months later. But we're ironically going there this time of year because the wind is supposed to stop blowing now. But from what I've heard, it's blasting. So it's just going to be hot, very, very hot. I mean, it was like 101 there the other day. Ironically, that same evening, I had a hot tub, and I said to my wife, "What temperature is the hot tub?" And she said 97. And I said, "Well, that's wonderful because it's 4 degrees warmer in Elizabeth City, North Carolina." So yeah, it's going to be hot, and I am too portly, and I'm just not built for that kind of weather. So we'll tune in and watch me sweat. But it will be a fun tournament, and we've got a fun show here this week. Joined by Dakota Ebare, sitting in third place for Progressive Bassmaster Angler of the Year. He's a two-time MLF winner, hot off his first Bassmaster Classic. I mean, he's just a bad mamma jamma. Always got great stuff to talk about. So I'm excited to have that conversation, but that's not all. Then we are joined by former Bachelor, former Bassmaster Classic qualifier, former Bassmaster winner, Byron Velvick with Byron's Bunker. But first, we kick it off with Dakota Ebare, and let's just go right ahead and do that right now. Dakota Ebare, I appreciate you fitting this in. I'm literally, as I put my headphones on, I was literally knocking water out of my ear from being in the river this morning. But hey, that's the best thing about the gigs we have. We get to do something we love.
Absolutely. You found some big ones down there?
I did. Yeah. There.
What? I don't know. What, like, where are you? What section of the river do you spend most of your time? Like, are you close to Clayton or something? Or are you down?
Yeah. I mean, I spend a bunch of time there, a bunch of time up by Alex Bay. Kind of just depends on, time of year, what's going on. This time of year, the water's so cold, and I generally do it by myself, which you're not supposed to do. So I try to do it from shore rather than run out. Like in the summer, it's great. Like you just go out in your boat and do it wherever. But yeah, no, it was a fun morning. Me and the fish, we get along good that way. Just swim up and say hello to them. And it was a little chilly though. Water temperature is like 54 degrees. So
yeah,
little shrinkage.
I understand. I understand. I actually was talking with a buddy from down here earlier, and he's fishing, I guess, the NPFL up there or something like that. I don't know what it is, but I haven't been to Clayton in a long time. Well, I fished the last tournament I fished on the river, I think, was in 23 maybe. I fished a lot of events on the river, but we were always out of Messina.
Yeah, way up
so
there.
Yeah, so our boundary was always, the mouth of the river. I think it's been 2018 since I fished a tournament on the lake. So I'm really excited that we're going out of Clayton this year. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of century belts. I think it's going to be. I forget how many we had last time we were at it, because it just. I just hit me, but I guess we've been there so often. I just assume you were part of it, but we weren't there last year. It was the first time in forever. But you see the difference when we run into Waddington, which is closer to the lake than Messina. But it's up that part of the world. And you just give you guys extra time, more time on the lake. It's stupid.
I am so excited to go there and not have to make a 75-mile run down the river just to get to Clayton, that run, man, just from Messina and getting beat by boat traffic and everything else, like, 'cause it's not smooth ever. and I'm so excited for that. Now I'll still get beat in the lake, I'm sure. Like, it's still gonna be rough, but it's just part of it. At least you ain't got to run 75 miles,
Yeah. The river's a beast though. Like, I spent a lot of time on Erie, a lot of time on Lake Ontario, a lot of time on every Great Lake, basically. I would take any of them over that river. That river is evil. Like, you have a lot of current, and then if the wind goes against it, the waves are nowhere to go but up. Then you've waves. It just it feels like I feel like I'm running down that river, and I'm like, okay, the waves are going this way. When I turn that corner, I'm going to be fine. But as soon as you turn that corner, you're like, no. Guess what?
The wind turns still going. Yeah.
It follows it.
Yeah. The last time I was there was the MLF title championship. Actually, I'm looking at it. I think there's a little deal right here, but I think it was in 2023 or 2024. I was there. Spencer Sheffield won it, and I finished second by like a pound or something. It was stupid. So I'd like to get some redemption on that place, but I'm sure there's a couple Johnson boys that have something to say about that, not to mention 100 other ones. So, but I really, really enjoy being there, and I've spent a ton of time on that place, and I'm excited to get back.
Well, dude, if things continue the way they are, you're going to be battling it out. Everybody wants to talk about Corey and Trey 1 and 2, but you're not too far behind them in third place for Angler of the Year.
I think I'm 1 point behind Trey. So.
Yeah, so you're right there. Do you like being the one that nobody's kind of mentioning, or are you going to change that in the next couple of events?
I'm not really too concerned about it, but I did take note of it. It kind of like, nobody. Whatever, that's fine.
Well, I'm mentioning it.
It's just funny though, like, because everybody's making such a big deal. Like, there are some people that are like, "Man, I can't believe you're in third," like, and it's just like, so I'm actually kind of working on an article for Bassmaster for their magazine, and that's something that kind of got brought up. The fans almost don't like translate a little bit, because like I guess from everything that I did before, and I'm not complaining at all. Like, it really doesn't bother me. It's actually motivation, but like, you've got to earn it over here at Bassmaster too. Like, it doesn't matter what you did before, So like, and there's like a core group of Bassmaster fans and people that follow Bassmaster that don't like. They're like making this big deal about me being in third, and I'm like, man, last year was the worst year of my. Like, everyone knows me from last year, and it was like the worst year of my career by far. Like, I've never had to finish that bad in AOI in anything ever in my career, and it's kind of like I needed that. Like, I needed that. I need that a little bit, because it's like, it just lights the fire, and it's cool. I like it. I'm good with it.
Yeah, I'm definitely way more shocked about last year than this year. I mean, I think you've just settled into where everybody kind of expected when you came to the Elite Series. Looking back at that, and we've talked about it a little bit, but would you have done anything different, or did you think that it's just the way it was supposed to be?
It's the way it was supposed to be, 100%. Like, I just, I'm extremely thankful for the struggle that I had last year. It's helped me out tremendously on and off the water. Like, I just needed that. Like, I needed to figure out, like, and all of these young anglers are going to go through that at some point, and it's a good thing, right? Like, and that you may not see it as much as maybe you saw it in me, like that last year, but for my whole career, running down the road, living free and easy and out of a pickup truck with no responsibilities and just I'll cherish those moments for, those times for the rest of my life. But you reach a point where you realize you got responsibilities and other things and other obligations and stuff, and they matter and they're very important. And learning how to manage all that, like it just took me a little bit to kind of get my priorities in order. That's just it. And it doesn't mean that I can't be as successful in the water. I think actually is going to allow me to be more successful down the road. But I just had to kind of get some things in order, and it showed on the water. And but I wouldn't change it for the world. Wouldn't change where I'm at for the world.
What did you have to get in order? Like, was it just personal stuff, or is it just mental, how you looked at things? Like,
yeah, I would say it was a combination of all of it. My personal life had gotten so out of whack because of being so laser focused on trying to be successful fishing. And I reached a point where I really realized that. And I kind of took it out on fishing. Like, I was, I got to where, like, I don't know, I just wasn't in the right mindset to be successful fishing. And on top of that, the competition has gotten so good so fast that, like, in the blink of an eye, it's like, oh, whoa, So with the combination of all that stuff kind of going on, it all hit at once, But then I've found that once I got my priorities in order, like in my personal life, then I'm able to focus way more on being successful on the water, and the potential, I think, is way higher, and I'm so much happier now. I'm at this place where, like, I'm in third in AOI or whatever, and I want to win bad. Like, trust me, I'm prepared, like, to try to win, but it's not the end of the world. Like, I'm really just enjoying the season. I'm enjoying each tournament. I'm not thinking about what's going to happen in the St. Lawrence River right now, truthfully. Like, we talked about it. I'm excited about it, but it's not the focus of my energy. The focus of my energy is preparing for the Pasco tank and preparing for day one of Pasco tank, and we're going to take it one day at a time. I'm going to enjoy each day of practice at the Pasco tank, no matter how rough it is, no matter how far I run, no matter how many different boat ramps I go to. Like, I'm enjoying each day that I get to spend on the water now. And I'm not stressing so much about all of it, like, it's just different. I just had it was a kind of a growing up season for me. And it was really good. Really good.
What you said is something that I've heard over and over again from pros for literally decades, where, I'm happy, I'm catching them, but they're happy before they're catching. Like, it's easy to be like, I'm happy because I'm catching them, but it's almost like if you're not happy, like, I can't honestly think of anybody who's contended for angler. You know what I mean? Let's be honest. We hang out with 100 dudes. Sometimes some of them are a little more grumpy than others. You know what I mean? It's just normal, but it just feels like the happy ones are the ones that are catching them. And it's not just because they're catching them. Why do you think that is in this sport?
Yeah, I was real grumpy last year. I was, it's not nothing to be proud of, but I was, and I was miserable. But you know what's crazy is, and, like, our phone's listening right now, whatever. And, like, the algorithm plays in and social media kicks in and does its thing. But I've heard and I'm not going to go all into detail because I think we've already done it, but the things that I went through last year, I can't tell you how many like really successful people I've heard in other aspects of sports and business and everything else say the exact same thing. Like I remember last year being at a pretty low point and like kind of starting to feel like I start to understand what I was going through. And then I heard Deion Sanders, one of his clips, you know, it was a TikTok deal. And, you know, talking about the highlight of his career was one of the lowest points in his life where he was extremely successful in the eyes of the public, doing everything that he was doing and accomplishing in the sports. But it was one of the unhappiest moments of his life because he realized that his priorities weren't in order. He didn't have that foundation that he needed. And, I mean, I think at one point, like he even like, you know, contemplated suicide over it. And from the outside looking in, he had it made, you know? So I think that, you know, whenever you get so laser focused on being successful in anything, whether it's running a business or being a professional fisherman or a professional athlete, football player, whatever it is, it's very easy to get your priorities out of whack, you know, and that eventually will catch up to you, like without a doubt, you know? And so I think the guys that you see have extreme success, throughout the course of their entire career, they may have tough years and this and that, but you look at a guy like Kevin Van Dam, he's got Sherry, he's got he's got the right people around him. He's not just, there's a structure to what's going on there, you know? And I had to kind of establish that in my life, you know? And, you know, you look at right now, I'm in my spare bedroom right now because Bowen's in there, you know, and my mom's here and she's been playing with him all day. And I needed that. Like, that's what I remember building this house and sitting, like walking in that living room for the first time and then realizing I had nobody to share it with. Like, what's that for? You know, like what am I asked myself then, and that was in 2023. I'm like, what am I doing? You know, so you saw it really come out in 25 probably, but it started in 23, you know, and it was just me kind of realizing that, man, like, this is what I meant to do. This is the platform that I've been blessed to be able to live and I don't take a single day for granted. I'm so thankful for the opportunities that I have. Seriously, I was around Rayburn this morning, taking a couple buddies fishing, and it's just like, still just a morning of going fishing. Like, took them down the bank, throwing topwater, man, and we just caught some fish. And to see the enjoyment and the fact that I get to do that every day, I don't take a single day for granted. But it's just you have to like have balance, you know, and I didn't have that, and I wouldn't trade where I'm at today for the world. That little boy in there, and having Shelby in there, and having my mom in here, like, man, I realized like before, if I lost if I had a bad tournament, I might have finished second, but I might have called that a bad tournament or something, you know, because I lost a fish to win or something. Like, that was the end of the world. Like, that was my everything. And that's not okay. You know, now if I don't win AOI this year, I still got a little boy in there that's healthy and a beautiful fiance and family and friends around me. Like, it's okay. Like, I'm doing my job. I'm doing something I love. And like, I think that's the place where I've been trying to get to, you know, and it's tough to stay there at times, you know, like you have bad days and stuff, but like, that's so much more important now than having a bad day on the water, you know, and it's hard to really explain that, but
on paper, you would look at everything you have now, and some people would say, well, that's a distraction from the water. I mean, like but for you, it's made things better. So you lack the balance. Like, were you too obsessed with fishing before, do you think?
Probably. Yeah.
Wanted it too bad?
Yeah. I mean, I put 800 hours on a boat in 1 year. And that was before, I mean, yeah.
When you advertised it for sale, did you say like gently driven?
I couldn't sell it, man. They were all idling.
Yeah,
they were idling. Yeah, dude, it consumed me,
Yeah.
and I still love it as much as I ever did. It's just, I just have found balance.
Yeah.
And but I heard Paulie talk about it the other day. Like I was watching a podcast that he was on, and talking about Fisher and the Nut Brothers and all that stuff. And like, you can't be mad at them kids for going to practice, or Dylan for spending the time that he spent on, because I did it, and that's what equated my success early in my career. Like, hats off to him. He's doing the same thing I did. He spent all that time preparing for the Classic, and it paid off 100%. Do I have the time to go do that? No, not really. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, because he mentioned, he's like, well, I went on elk hunt. I could have not went on elk hunt. I could have done, could have went to Knoxville, and I probably have the free time too. But it's those guys will get to a point too where they're like, man, but you have all that time. Like, I'm not spending as much time as I once did, but I didn't forget, like, all that time that I spent on the water and all those tournaments that I fished. Like, they've prepared me to be where I'm at today, to go to the Pasquotank River.
Yeah.
Even if I'm not daylight till dark on Raven right now, like, the time that I've put in has paid off, like, and I'm still, and now, like, it's almost to where, like, it's better for me to be more prepared, like, when I hit the water and go to the Pasquotank, like, having my tackle perfect and having the right rods, the right setups, the right baits, and everything else. Like, especially now, because everything is so, like, evolving in the tackle world, and there's all the new stuff that's so dominant and everything, and, like, figuring that stuff out. Whereas before, man, I remember, like, going to a tournament and needing something and not having it, and it's like, man, like, not being prepared, because I was fishing so much that I just was going from tournament and wasn't really prepared for the events that I was in. Just kind of like free for all. So it's all good, man. It's all about growing up and learning and getting better.
Today's high-tech fishing world can be a real pain in the neck, especially if you're running the wrong mounts. Beat Down Outdoors, they bring the graph to you, and they support this podcast and care enough about you to make this a short ad read. Check out Beat Down Outdoors. Now back to the show. When Palnick won one of his AOYs, I still remember one of the quotes. He said, "Some mornings I wake up and I know I'm going to catch him. And it's almost always right." And he said, "In some mornings I wake up and I just feel like I'm not going to catch him today." And he said, "It's almost always right." Why is that, though? Like, I mean, okay, it's it's in your head, but how does a freaking fish tell what's in your head? Like, how does it result?
The fish don't. It's the decisions you make. It's your mindset while you're on the water. It's your mindset from takeoff to check-in. And, like, if you could figure out how to bottle that up, that mindset of those days if you could put that in a bottle, those days when you wake up knowing you're going to catch them, then you could sell it for, but that's no different. That's no different than a quarterback waking up, being confident and being prepared and knowing them boys about to get it today. Like, they don't have a chance, and guys that you see with long-term success and whatever it is they're doing, they figure out a way to wake up each day and think that way.
Yeah.
I would like, let's just take Kevin, for example.
He's an anomaly that way, though.
Right.
Like, he doesn't ever wake up and not think, like, and it's not that. It's deer hunting. It's like, Kevin is certain. You could talk to him about anything, grilling on a barbecue, and he's certain that he's doing it the right way, and he's better at it.
And that's why he's good at it, though. That's why that's why his stats are an anomaly. Jacob Wheeler's the same way. One of these younger guys will be the same way. It may be Trey, it may be Fisher, it may be Caleb Hudson. Time will tell, but they all have the ability to do it. They're showing that now. What equates into having a career-long level of success like that is the guys that figure out how to maintain that, as well as maintain the balance of life that's coming down the road. And that is the transition that I've been going through. And whether or not that ends up in me winning AOI this year and a bunch of blue trophies and a classic trophy and everything else, I don't know. But I dang sure am at a way better place to probably accomplish that now than what I ever have been.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see what the future holds. But, I'm literally like just enjoying each day, and that's where I'm at with it.
I think that's the thing that blows me away about Kevin so much is just his, like, to keep that for that long. Like it's 25 bass wins, 4 MLF wins. You know what I mean? Like 8 Angler of the Years, if you include the FLW Angler. It's at some point the average human like lays off and is like, okay, I'm good. I've won a bunch of these, but he just, and I mean, look at Wheeler, what he's doing. I mean, he's the same. But I think that's the secret with Kevin. Like, if you look at when I've watched people win Angler of the Year, and I use this example of Aaron all the time because I saw Aaron win Angler of the Year multiple times, but I also saw him have rougher seasons. And it's the same human. But when I talk to him in the AOY years, he's like, they're over there. And he goes and he catches them. When I talk to him in the non-AOY years, he's like, you think they're on the point, or maybe they're there, or they're probably not there. Like, but Kevin never had those moments. Like, if he would just be certain he's going to catch him on the point, and if he didn't, there's a reason. But he knows where. Like, he's an anomaly, and I'm sure Wheeler's the same.
And each person, each individual has their own formula that equates to that, right? So, like those days whenever Polnick said he woke up and he just knew that he was going to catch them, like, the formula was right. Like, and then it's hard to really say like what exactly it is that triggers it to be off, but something makes it off on those days you wake up, which we all do, and we're like, man, daggone, I'm gonna struggle today. Like, I don't feel good about today. Like, you may not say like I'm a struggle, but you just don't feel good about it. Like, I just don't know where to go. Like you said, I don't know if they're on the point, or I don't know if I'm maybe to catch one here. You don't have that clarity, right? But on the days when you wake up and everything's right, you're like, I don't care if they're not on that point. I'm going to go find them over here. Like, you get in that groove, you just get in that right mindset that you're going to figure it out no matter what. And everyone has a different equation like to get to that point, and for me, I'm realizing that it's having this balance. And for me, it's always been like spending time in the woods. Like, I hunt a lot in the fall, but it is part of my equation that I have to have. Like, I'm not going to say that I have to have it, but it really does good for me to go sit in the woods and just be in peace and quiet and enjoy the serenity of the outdoors. Like, and not have the pressure, which I still end up putting pressure on myself because I turn that into a freaking mental game too. But it is just it's a change of pace in a way. It's just something different, to allow me to like hit refresh to where whenever I'm ready, like I've kind of split 50-50 on being on the water over the last week or so and being in the woods. Like, I'm doing a lot of stuff, running cameras and putting out deer feed and doing stuff, getting food plots ready, stuff like, and that's like my little refresh button, now it's coming. And it's also, as much as anything, coming home and seeing Bowen, and feeding him and, seeing him grow daily and doing new things. Like, that's my refresh button now, like, as much as anything. So, it all comes down to figuring out what it takes for you to be successful. It all comes down to you figuring out what you have to do to maximize your success, to be in that right mindset at takeoff on day 1 of the tournament and day 2 and day 3 and hopefully day 4. Like that's what it comes down to. Because out of 100 guys out there, I mean, most of them have the ability to win. Most of them do. They do. I mean, the Elite Series and bass fishing in general is getting so competitive. Like the knowledge and the information everywhere. And I don't mean bad information. I mean like just the resources of going back and watching bass live and seeing everything that's out there now. It's awesome. It's raising the bar. But then you still have to put that into your equation and be in a good mindset and be confident and be happy and enjoy what you're doing and all of that. Like there's so much more to being successful in all aspects of life, fishing included, that's between the ears. There's no doubt about that, you know?
Yeah. And balance the world's got a lot of successful people that aren't balanced, and to the public, like the Deion Sanders story used, everybody thought, wow, that dude's got everything. And if you don't have balance, nothing lasts for long. So this year, things are going really well. Do you just look at the point and know they're on the point?
There's been tournaments like that. Like I knew going into Tom Bigby, I'd never been to the Tom Bigby, and I didn't get any information going into Tom Bigby other than the fact that, you know, there were some fish in the lower pool. Like it used to be good. So that's all I knew, was that the lower pool used to be good. Like they used to weigh in giant bags out there. But looking at the map and then getting there and seeing those cypress trees and seeing that, I knew I was going to do well in that tournament. Like, yeah, I knew they were on the point in that tournament. Like that was one. You know, Murray, I know that catching herringfish is not my specialty. I know that it's a very intricate deal. It's very, the guys that are good at it are really good at it, like Paul Marks and Emil and all that. You knew Paul Marks was going to top 10 that tournament. You knew Emil was going to top 10 it. You knew Brian New was going to be in the mix. You knew those certain guys were going to be in the mix. I knew that was probably going to be a little bit of a challenge for me. So finishing whatever I finished there, I don't remember, 40th or whatever I finished, I don't know. That was kind of a win for me. I wasn't happy with it necessarily, but man, it was a good event for me. Because I know that it could have very easily went bad. I made some good decisions that week and figured out just enough to have a decent event. And I didn't I don't talk to a lot of guys. Easton and I talk a little bit, but nobody spoon fed me anything in that tournament. I just went out there and figured it out. And, it was, I'm happy with that. So I guess to answer your question, no, it hasn't just been easy, but I'm not disappointed at all in the season. It hasn't been just super, super easy. It's not like I've had a bunch of top 10s, but I've had some really good events. And even the tournaments that I didn't really make a surge towards top of the leaderboard, I feel like they've been solid events. So,
Yeah. And to be clear, when I say that Aaron story, it's not like it was easy. It's just there's a certainty. And I feel like it comes from confidence is fed by success. And if you're not successful, you can't be confident. You can start super confident, but beating after beating will make you lose that confidence. But I feel like they each feed each other, and not that it's going to be easy, but well, you just pointed out a 40th place finish sometimes is the most important finish you have in the year, because the dude who's leading angler of the year finished in the 70s in Murray. And that could be when this all comes down to a few points at the end of the year and everybody's hey, how do you make this up? Well, that was that could have been the most important tournament of your entire season, turning that 70 into a 40.
Yeah, because it's tough because the outside looking in, they don't see each cast, they don't see every second of every day, so it's hard to like really. So some guys look at a situation and they're like 40th man, hey, kind of had a tough one, but they don't realize like, man, actually no, that was a pretty good one. And then there's tournaments where like you finish second, and you're like, dadgummit, I could have won that. I could have won that tournament. Like I should have won that tournament. My last tournament on St. Lawrence River, I lost like a 5+ pounder, pretty close to the boat that I didn't have to lose. Like I kind of got it was storming, raining. I got a little lazy, and I let her jump. And it was one of them deals. Like I could have kept her down, but I was like, oh, she's fine. Like it was on a daggum football jig. I was like, she ain't coming off, and she come off. And I didn't. Like if I could have kept that fish down, I probably caught that fish. I remember getting lazy in that second, and that fish cost me winning $235,000 that day.
Wow.
And that tournament, I should have won. That was finishing second. I could have finished dead last, and it would have been no better or worse than finishing second in that tournament because I know I could have won. And you take the Tom Bigby. Christie beat me the way that he beat me on the last day. Like, man, dude, I maximized that tournament. Like I did. I have zero shame about that tournament whatsoever. Like I'm totally content with second in that tournament. I mean, seriously, like I did the best I could. You take the second place in that St. Lawrence River tournament I just talked about, and I still have nightmares over that one. So it's tough because, like I said, like you don't see the whole story because you're not there unless you're there making every cast. Like so, I think not a lot of guys probably talk about it, but at the end of each event, you can look back and say, man, that was a good one or that was a bad one. And sometimes, like I've won tournaments and said, man, I could have done better. Like I've been a little bit kind of like, So when it comes down to the end of the year, like you're saying, like all of that matters. Like it's so important, to just figure out and to kind of like learn how to stay in the middle, emotionally, not get too wrapped up in the highs and not get too wrapped up in the lows. Like you do the best you can each and every day. And sometimes things are going to go wrong. You're going to lose fish that you shouldn't have lost, like that just come off for no daggum reason whatsoever. And then sometimes you're going to let a fish jump that you shouldn't have let a fish jump, and she's going to come off and you're like, yeah, that was stupid. But even whenever stuff happens that's uncontrollable, you still got to keep casting. When stuff happens that you shouldn't have done, like you lose a fish that you shouldn't have lost, you still got to keep casting because, you just got to keep moving forward. And that's where I'm at right now with the season. Like I'm excited as all get out for the Pascal tank. If I have any, like, I wish I could have caught a big bag at Santee on the last day because I know how valuable those points were. And like, I never caught a big bag at Santee. Like I caught 18 basically and 16. And I still moved up on the last day, even though I caught 16 because it was really tough. And I had a little pattern all to myself out in the middle of the lower lake. No one else around me. I had all the grass clumps in the world to run. I caught 16 pounds right off the bat that morning. Got a better start than I had all week. But then I kind of got stale on me for a couple hours and the wind wasn't blowing. And I said, man, if I can find one big bedfish through the course of the day and catch 7 pounder, I'll jump to 20 pounds on the day. And I'll move way up. Well, I went to the upper lake and never found a bedfish up there and never caught another one and stayed at 16 pounds. Still moved up, but it was I was like, man, if I'd have just kept on my little program down there, I'd have probably caught 18, 19 pounds and would have moved way up. Like I could look back at instances and say, man, I left some points on the table there. But overall, man, like I can't be mad about the season.
You said when you look back at events, is that something you do throughout the season or is that a postseason deal? Like when you finish an event, do you spend a little time critiquing what went right, what went wrong, or is that something that happens when the season's over?
No, I mean, I that's a day-to-day thing. Like each day I evaluate my day and said, man, I should have put a little bit more effort here, done this or done that. Like it's a day-to-day thing. I mean, it's a minute-to-minute thing for me. Like, you're always trying to get better. I am. I'm always trying to figure out, like, I take each decision I make after the result of it. I look back and say, well, should have done that or shouldn't have done that, kind of deal for me. Yeah.
That fish that you said you got lazy on and lost that tournament, got second in that tournament. How much has that driven you through your career to not get lazy again?
Yeah, you think about it sometimes, I mean, I've missed out on some, it's just crazy, like how many big tournaments I've come really close to winning. It kind of haunts you for sure. And it does motivate you, like, to just stay focused. And I mean, I've learned about every lesson I've learned in my life the hard way. So that's just me. I'm hard headed. Shelby will tell you that. My mom will tell you that. Anybody that knows me knows I'm pretty hard headed. You can tell me where to go win the Clayton tournament, and I promise you I won't go there. Like, you can tell me right now, like you could tell me, hey, I scuba dive with these things. You can go win the tournament right here, and I promise you I will not go there. Even though it would not be against the rules at this point. Like, I'm that hard headed. Seriously. So like,
why are you that hard headed?
Well, that's a little bit different, I guess, but it just proves the point of how hard headed I am. But I'm that way because I want to do it. Like, I don't want you to do it for me. Like, I want to go do it. If I beat Chris and Corey on their home waters, I want to do it. Like, I wouldn't sleep at night knowing that you did it for me. It's just me. That doesn't mean that I wouldn't talk with you about the fishery and learn more about the fishery. But I don't want to know, like, if you were to tell me, like a guy could tell me right now at Rayburn, hey, if you go cast at this waypoint, at this stump, you'll catch a 10-pounder. I promise you I wouldn't do it. Like, I might bring my mom or Shelby or you to go do it, but I'm not doing it. Don't do nothing for me.
Yeah.
You don't. Now, if you were to tell me, hey, man, they are really on stumps in 12 foot of water on Rayburn right now. Like, I might go find my own stump in 12 foot of water on Rayburn right now and just kind of, do that. But it's just a principal thing to me that I have zero desire to, like, it's just me. So I'm hard headed in that way. I'm hard headed. I mean, and it's a little bit of a, like, that's just an example of how hard headed I can be, I guess.
Is that what attracts you to fishing? Because competitive fishing? Because it's hard?
Yeah, it is. It is. I love being on the water. I don't take a single sunrise that I get to watch for granted. Like, the fact that I get to sit out there in God's creation every single day, whether I'm in the woods or I'm working around my house or I'm on the water in a tournament, like, the fact that I just have always loved being outside. And it's funny because my 2-month-old kid's the same way. Like, he'll be inside mad as hell, pissed off. And you could literally bring him outside and he's just like, it's like so happy the same way. So I've just always been that way. I love being outdoors and being in nature. And the fact that I get to do it for a living and like, yeah, so that just drives me. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. It's just always been, it's always been that way.
One thing that hasn't always been that way, and you mentioned it a few times about info. I feel like our no info, get info rule is the most bipolar rule in the history of bass fishing, because in the time I've been, like, a year and a half ago, Bass was going to switch it to January cutoff. A January cutoff, you can get information up to January. The anglers went absolutely nuts. I talked to 80 of them myself, and they said, we can't have this happen. No less than 12 months later, the anglers voted for it to be 28 days. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it took all of the first event of the season before I heard from anglers saying, yeah, we can't have this rule the way it is. Where do you think that rule ends up being? Or do you think it is a perpetual game of whatever's going on?
I don't know. Like, I almost don't even care. I hate to say that. I just, like, I truly, like, I mean, people are like, oh, you're just saying that, but it doesn't matter to me because I don't care who gets what. I just don't. I'm not going to waste all my energy on that. I think it's where I land on it. And I've said this since day one. Like I said this whenever I was at an open at lacrosse, whenever Bass changed the rule and the 80 of the anglers lost their mind and then made them change it back, which then put us in a weird situation that lacrosse.
Oh, that's right.
Open,
the opens are still happening.
and I was one of the guys that was at the time whenever Bass made the decision to change it. I supported that because I know that you can't enforce it 1,000%. Like there's not a polygraphing, probably ain't the answer. Like there's not a perfect way to enforce the rule. So if you can't fully enforce the rule, then it's not worth having the rule, in my opinion. It's just my opinion. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying if you can't, tell me that, is there anybody right now in the industry that would say that we can perfectly enforce that rule?
No, I wouldn't think so. No.
Okay, so if you can't enforce a rule, then what good does it do?
I don't think it gets any easier when you change the date to enforce it. I mean, to me, it is. I mean, I don't have a hand at the table, but I feel like whatever it's going to be, it's going to be. Like, I give lots of, like, there's part of me that's like, it should be super pure. You should get no information, do some of the things you talked about, and I think it's more rewarding. And then I look at golf and I'm like, they have a dude that walks down the fairway with them and tells them what club to throw. And nobody says anything about that. He literally, not only does that dude tell the person what club they're best with and give them advice, that dude also says, calm down when things didn't go well. Like, I mean, that is, and you look at fishing, it's almost held to a different standard. So I honestly, I don't think there's a right way. I just feel like probably the right attitude is what you said. And it's like, just tell me the rules and let's go fishing, like whatever they are. Because the more time you spend obsessing over things like that, generally, the more it affects your finishes.
Well, I'm not going to open up a can of worms here, but the reason why we are where we are in the fishing industry or at tournament, the reason why tournament fishing is where it's at now. And listen, it's not terrible. I have made a very good living fishing tournaments, and I thank God every single day for it. Like the fishing, there are opportunities in the fishing industry to make a good living. There are. Could they be better? 1,000%. The reason why we are not further along in this industry, though, is because we have spent so much time and energy arguing over little stuff like this that we have totally missed the boat on marketing the sport and growing the sport to where it could be. Like you put 100 anglers in the room, we're not gonna argue about how to grow the audience. We're gonna argue about when we should cut off the information rule. Yeah. Whenever we have all the information you could ever receive right here on your phone anyways, regardless, and it's public.
Yeah.
There it is.
You look at all the effort that's been put into forward-facing sonar and different arguments like that. Like if I've said so many times, I'm like, if that energy was put into a positive direction, if that energy was put into like how to increase paybacks and how to do all sorts of things, everybody would be further ahead.
How to get more people to watch and this and that and all that. Like yeah. You think, yeah.
You're being good this podcast. I like this. This is maturing to go. I mean, you're not opening cans of worms. That's fine.
Well, so, and then what is so frustrating for me is because, and it's not, I get why people are so opinionated about the rule. Like, I get why people are so opinionated about forward-facing sonar and all of that. It's just really frustrating, especially probably from your perspective, whenever you see all this energy go into, we got to have the rule this way. And then Bass is like, okay, let's do it this way. And then 6 months later, like, no, that's not right. We shouldn't have done that. Let's do it this way. So we're just doing this. We're like making circles, and it's like, Just like the information rule, like we just did a big circle. Like we're not getting anywhere. So therefore we're wasting energy. Like somebody needs to make a decision and say, this is what the daggum rule is. This is the way it is. Y'all take or leave it. Like somebody needs to, I guess that's, I don't know. I guess we're just wasting energy. Like it's just it.
Yeah. No, I can't say you're wrong.
That's why we are struggling to like, a guy, a really like prominent guy like a guy that's kind of a big deal in the industry told me the other day, the sport's just not growing. And I was like, yeah, it is. Like, yeah, it is. We're just arguing over forward facing sonar, or we're arguing over the rule or something. The sport is growing. Look at high school fishing. Look at college fishing. Look at the boat ramp right now at Sam Rayburn. I'm not saying we're harnessing it necessarily in tournament entries and this and that. Like, I get that. But gas is also $5 a gallon. Like, there are a lot of different factors that are going to, but I promise you, the boat ramp right now at Rayburn, like, dude, I pulled up to the boat ramp right this morning at 7 o'clock at the pavilion, at Umphrey Pavilion at Rayburn, and I made a U-turn because the line was so long. And I went to another ramp that I knew there wouldn't be as many people at. Man, and I seen high school kids out there, like, and a guy coaching these kids on how to catch some fish on an offshore little place and stuff. Like, it was quiet. I could hear this guy like telling his kids that, like, man, the sport is growing. Look at Randy Moss. Look at Dion. Look at Clay Gita being there. We had Steve Harvey at the Classic.
Yeah.
Luke Bryan. Like, look at the interest in our sport and the potential.
Yeah.
You got a guy like Steve Harvey who is like so excited about our sport. And then I got a guy over here that's like supposed to be a leader in the sport tell me that it's not growing.
The Classic was on Network Fox. The Super Bowl of bass fishing was on the same freaking channel that the Super Bowl is on, and not in the morning. It was on in afternoon, like a time that's never ever heard of. There was FS1 coverage. There was multiple feeds, and we had people in our industry making videos saying there was just too much coverage of the Classic is what it was. I mean, are we really is that what we're like? Ray Scott dreamed of a day where we would have live bass fishing. We have it, and it's got to the point that it's on Fox, and we have more people in this industry trying to prove that the 6.5 million viewers that Nielsen rating said that the Classic had, well, that's not true. It's so insane to me. Like,
You're always going to have those naysayers, though, but you have to have leaders in our sport and in our industry that say, I don't care about those naysayers. This is the numbers we're getting. This is what we accomplished by having the Classic on Fox. Now take that to the right companies that want to invest in that, be partners in that, and grow this thing. Look at the amount of kids that are that are investing so much money and time and energy in this sport so they could be at the Classic one day. This is what's coming. Technology is going to get better. Coverage is going to get better. The sport is going to get better. Opportunities are going to get better. Invest. Market the sport. Market what went on at the Classic. Grow this thing. But instead, they're worried about these Karens that are saying, "Oh, well, that may not be." Who cares about them? You know what I'm saying? Like, but we got guys saying the sport's not growing, and they're guys that they're people that matter.
Yeah, it's crazy. Why do you think that's because it's not growing for them personally? Like, why do you think that is happening? Or do you think we live in a time where that negative, like it's the first time in history that is a benefit, like to tear something. I mean, we saw it. Like there's people that the same channel that have put out videos that say the 5 things I hate about the Classic, and it does X exponentially better than the video they put out, the 5 things I love about the Classic. Like we live in a world where that negative gets fed.
Oh, we do. I mean, yeah, you see the same thing in every other sport too.
Yeah.
You see the same thing in the NFL. You see the same stuff in, I mean, you see the same stuff in golf. You see the same stuff in all those other sports. The difference is you got people with vision and with goals in mind that know like the potential, and they believe in their sport. They believe in they don't care. They're going to figure out a way.
It's wild because my wife is a huge F1 fan, has been since she was a little child. Her and her dad used to watch it. And in F1 right now, there's this kid who's 18 years old, Kimi Antonelli. He's won every race this year. Like, not only is he leading the championship, he has literally won I think they've only had 5 races, but he's won 5 freaking races. And he's 18 years old. And maybe I just don't spend enough time on Formula One chat boards, but I don't hear the things like that. Sport is like, how great is this that we have this? But in our sport, we got Dylan Nutt, and people are like, well, of course he won. Kid put in an incredible amount of work. I mean, since when has work been a negative in anything? Like, I mean, you have a brand new baby boy. As that boy ages and develops, the number one thing you're going to teach him is a work ethic, right?
Yeah. He ain't got a choice on that. I don't care what he does. But he's going to do it. Like, yeah. I don't care if he wants to play checkers. Like, you're going to play checkers in. Like,
yeah.
But
it's
no.
Crazy.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's because our sport is so tight knit, though, in a way. And I think that, I just think we're in a big transition, like in our sport. Like, I just do. I mean, we are. We really are. I think that's tough. I think that truly, like, we're in a really, like, I think we're in a growing pains deal. Yeah. Like, and I know there are people that are going to hear that and be like, you're an idiot. But I don't care. Like, dude, how can you not say that the sport grew through the last 5 years? Like with COVID and everything, like, whoa. Now listen, are we where we are at right now with tackle sales and stuff like that in 2025 to where we were at in 2021 or 2022? No, like that has went down, right? But I mean, dude, you can't have exponential growth without it leveling off at some point. Like, people have to tighten their belts and not spend as much money. Like, there's so many factors that go into that, but there are still so many people that are fired up about our sport. Like, the potential is still there. And I do feel like we didn't harness the growth that we had, or the potential for the growth that we could have had. Like, there was so much interest in fishing. Like, it was so on fire, like, through those years, that I feel like we maybe didn't harness that as well as we could have. Like, we didn't, like, for example, like, we didn't gain any, like, huge business partners as an industry through the exponential growth that we saw in COVID. But I still think that we're poised to do that. But the youth is going to drive that.
Yeah.
I mean, they are. They're going to drive me out of the sport, but they're going to drive it to the next level too.
But we're also at a time where, on last week's show, I called a buddy of mine live that runs an independent tackle store. Mm-hmm. And this is somebody who has been in a generational independent tackle store. His parents ran it before him. That store has seen everything. It has seen the bladed jig. It has seen the Alabama rig. It has seen every single, you insert the sluggo, the whatever, insert the porco, insert anything you want, any phenomenal thing that came along that people went crazy to buy. And he said straight up, I have never, ever had a lure that more people wanted to buy, that I sold, like, literally, than urchin style baits in the history of his store. Like, he said, if I had to compare it to something, and if you just say this, I would compare it to the flying lure. The flying lure is a lure that got multi-millions dollars of media put behind it to make it, wanted the way it was. You couldn't turn on a TV without seeing an infomercial for the flying lure. And this is a lure that people have been trying to keep secret. And that's how much so there's areas of the industry that are smaller. There's tournaments that are having issues with co-anglers and stuff. But I just, how you can't walk through the Bassmaster Classic and see all those kids and be like, yeah, there's no future in this. I mean, literally you're looking at future. Like it is crazy. It is crazy. But
yeah, it is. But I think we're going to see some really cool things in the next few years of our sport.
Yeah.
Like I really do, and I think you're going to continue to see change. I just think that the leaders of our sport and our industry have to have a vision and a way to retain the youth involvement in it and allow that to grow the sport. And I don't mean that in any disrespect to the veterans of the sport, because I'm well aware that they are going to push me out of my place in it at some point in time. But we have to figure out a way to be more innovative in marketing and providing a better product, however that may look to the fans, to make it more entertaining, to make it more. And I'm not saying that we're doing anything wrong now, from that perspective. I just think that we could do more, just figure out a way to harness the attention that I don't know. Just got to figure it out.
I think you already said it, dude. We just need to start focusing on building and not tearing down. The veteran thing is a prime example. And I mean, I've worked in this industry for a long time, but if you look at, and I just thought of this when you're talking, there is certain things that have gotten smaller, but pro level tournaments isn't one of those, in the way that look at the NPFL, for example. When that circuit was announced, the number one comment was there's no need for it. There's no space for that, another pro level tournament. Well, there definitely has become a place for it. And it's not just because of non-forward facing sonar. It's because leagues are cutting people and people are getting eliminated, but there's another tour. I just feel I guess it depends how you choose to look at things.
It always does.
Yeah. Just like catching fish, right? If you think you're going to catch them, you're going to catch them. Dakota Ebare, are you going to win friggin' Angler of the Year or not?
I say this about I think I say this on every single podcast or every single time anybody does an interview with me. It's all about perspective. It's all about perspective. I have no way of predicting the future, Dave, and I'm okay with it however it turns out. I'm not going to say I won't be disappointed in the moment, or mad as hell, but I'm really excited about the Pasquotank River, or that tournament, and I am really excited about Champlain, and I am really excited about the St. Lawrence River. I feel good about it.
Yeah,
I don't know what that means, but I feel really, really good about it. I feel like I've gotten through the grind part of the season. We're on the home stretch, and it's a good feeling. I knew that Murray was going to be pretty tough. Could be tough, for me to really, really do well. And I knew that Santee was kind of a question mark. I mean, we saw what Santee can do, and it can be feast or famine. And I knew that going into the tournament. I was excited about it, but I knew that Santee could be a tough one for some, and it was. But we're on this northern swing for me is I'm excited. That's all. I'm humbly confident.
I got to ask you a few fishing questions because we've talked about the industry and also what is your take on the Kyoiki? Where are you at with it?
I threw it a bunch this morning and didn't get a lot of bites on it. But it's definitely it's just like, man, when they bite it, they bite it. When they don't, they don't. So I've never seen a bait that was so dominant or dead. And it's like literally I could throw it over one brush pile and fish will run from it. And then I throw in the next brush pile and one swims from 15 foot away and just freaking takes my rod away. It's just so weird. To me, it's just something different, something new they haven't seen. It's just like the plopper was, just like every new style bait that comes out. I think it's really hot right now. I think it'll level out. Like it's not going to always be as dominant as it was. Just like throwing a minnow at fish for the first time 2 years, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, however long ago. Like you caught every one of them, I think that it'll have its place in the sport for a while, but I think that it represents like a ball of bait to me. Like everybody's making it to be a bigger deal than what it is. Like if you throw a breadcrumb in the water and watch what happens at a restaurant or somewhere where there's a bunch of brim or bluegill, they all run there and they get around and they start pecking at it. To me, it's what it looks like. It looks like a ball of fry or a ball of bait.
Avco not only makes incredible outdoor clothing, but they care about anglers with their 10% pledge. Avco and the Shed family donate at least 10% of the company's profits to conservation and making fishing better. Now back to the show. I agree with that theory to a certain extent, but here's what messes with me. In all that underwater stuff I've shot, and I've shot a bunch with that bait, that style of bait, dude, they never eat it like it's a ball of bait. They take it to steal a word from Robert G, the throat meat. I mean, when they eat it, and in all the underwater stuff I've shot, I've realized like they eat different things different. Like if you watch how a bass eats a shiner, I think that a bass's favorite food on earth is shiner. And it's a totally different eat than the way it eats a perch. Like the way it eats a shiner, it just opens its mouth, folds it in, and it's gone. It's all... If you watch it eat a perch, it eats it with much more violence. Like it needs to kill it. And that's where it's weird to me. Like, I don't know what they think it is. I don't think we'll ever know what they think it is. But the way they inhale that thing is different. But whatever it is.
What do you feel like? So when they bite it, yeah, it's definitely like in their crunchers. But why do they not bite it half the time? Like,
I don't know. Why do they never peck at it?
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's either like all or nothing. And I don't understand that. Like, it's just something that triggers them.
Yeah. Oh.
And it's just crazy. I don't know.
Yeah. It's wild. It is wild, and it's going to be debated forever. I think. I just think it's funny that look at all the baits that have come over in the last 20 years that are like things that like, it just shows the more we think we know, the less we do. Like if I'd have showed you that 10 years ago and been like this, you need to invest in my company. Like we're going to blow. You would have laughed me out of the room. Vice versa. If I had have shown you the very first Senko at a time where every worm needed a crazy tail and everything, we're going to do this. You'd have laughed me out of the room. It's wild. So we don't.
I remember seeing Koya throw it for the first time at Seminole. I'm pretty sure it was Koya, was it not? I mean, you would know.
Yeah, I think so.
It was at Seminole in 23, maybe 21.
Yeah, 23, I think.
He was throwing it at a dock. He was throwing like under a dock for a bedding fish. I think he was sight fishing with it or something. And I remember going like, that's like, what? That's weird. Like, whatever. And then we're in 2026. Like it went 3 full years, like the 23, 24, 25, now the 4 years really. Like, and nobody paid no attention to it really until last year. So it went 3 full years where nobody paid any attention to it. I can guarantee you one thing. Listen, my eyes are open. And I'm using my resources, and I'm like, that won't happen to me again in my career. Like when I see something new, I'm paying attention. I'm looking for something new. Like the Corky's already old news. Like I promise you, my radar is open for the next one. Because there will be.
I think one of the things that stands out to me from Santee is, and I think that's, it was already a big thing going into Santee, but I think Santee exploded it so much more. But I think that has made me kind of even more of a believer in the one scope, one no scope, because I think that's what made a lot of people, like before it was just, it's a cat toy that they shake in front of fish because they're using forward facing sonar. Well, now you got a guy throwing it, not a guy, like the majority of the top 10 is throwing it. And they're not using forward face. Like that to me shows how that resounds with people. I just think of the cool things we've seen this year that we wouldn't have seen if we had done a limited period of time. Like I was the one who said we should do a limited period, like give them 3 hours with, like, I love that because I think it still would have won Santee, but it would have been a different story.
Yeah, I don't know where we land at with that. Like, and I'm not trying to waste a bunch of energy like we talked about earlier in the podcast on it. But I will say that I have, and I was skeptical about it at first. But I was skeptical. I was like, I don't know how that's going to work, whatever. But it has been. I've enjoyed the season. I've enjoyed the way that we've done every other, and I think that it's truly tested anglers. It's truly tested us in every way. I mean, there's been tournaments where you had to scope your tail off, and there's been tournaments where obviously we couldn't use scope and you had to grind your tail off, like at the Tom Bigby. So I think that it's really made guys earn it this year, not being able to do one thing, and you've had to be versatile. You've had to do it all this season. And I think that from a fan's perspective, like, you got to appreciate that, right? Like, we've seen some really good tournaments with forward facing sonar that were fun to watch. And then we've seen some, and we're going, I truthfully, like, we haven't had our best forward facing sonar tournaments yet. We're fixing to have our best forward facing sonar tournaments without a doubt. I think Pasquotank is probably going to be one of the best tournaments to watch with forward facing sonar. Definitely. Like, I think that will be the tournament to watch for forward facing sonar. Like, everybody's just going to catch them so good at the St. Lawrence. Like, the weather will be what will make that tournament interesting, probably. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but the Pasquotank, man, I think that could be really cool to watch how guys break that down with forward facing sonar. I'm really excited for that. Yeah. But yet Champlain will probably be just as entertaining. I mean, or even more, or as entertaining, I should say, without it. Like, so I think it's awesome that we're having to do a lot of different things to be successful, and it's really testing guys in every aspect.
Yeah. And our Angler of the Year leaderboard has been more volatile than we've ever had. And I'm not talking about the top 5. I'm talking about classic cut and everything you've had, because almost everybody has a tough one. And I, when I speak of it, I don't know that I don't know that we're doing this 5 years from now. I just think it's worked out good this year. I mean, I think I honestly, the one that went wrong, in my opinion, that I really wanted to see, I wanted St. Lawrence to be no scope, because I just think it would be such a more compelling tournament. Like, because everyone's going to do the same thing at the St. Lawrence. But it would go back to kind of being old school, where you'd see a lot of different things in play. That being said, it probably is better for the Johnstons. So
I think you'll get that at Champlain, though.
Yeah, you should.
You're going to get that at Champlain. And there's more things to do at Champlain, I feel like, without scope than there is at the St. Lawrence. Like, because think about the St. Lawrence before scope. It still wasn't like, I mean, it's the funnest place in the world to fish, but like, you're still drifting and dragging a drop shot. It wasn't like guys were like throwing a frog on their docks or something.
No, I didn't think that, but I think you would have saw a lot more jerk baits play and a lot more. I mean, Kevin won it on a spy bait and things like that. Like, I think you would see some stuff like that play. It's not going to be a frog tournament.
No.
But
now a guy could win at Champlain on a frog.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a good balance, man. I agree. I agree with you. I think it's been a good balance. I think it's been cool to watch. I don't know. I don't know but I don't think the angler should be the one like having to argue over what should the future of the format of the. I really like my thing is that like somebody with some vision and like with the analytics that really know. Like I'm not talking about the Facebook drama. I'm talking about like, hey, what actually is getting views? How can we entertain as many people as possible? Make a compelling story out of each and every event. Like, how can we do that and maximize that, which ends up maximizing people wanting to invest in the sport and sponsor the sport and be a part of it. So like, that's what needs, you know what I'm saying? Like, and how, whatever that format looks like, then take it there, go there. Because look, if the leader of an organization was to say, look, here's the deal, guys. I sounded like boy when I said that. He used to say that in every meeting, and I swear if I had to listen to him say that again in a meeting, I would have lost my mind, so I quit. But here's the deal, guys. But if somebody would actually say, here's the deal, guys, we're going to do it this way.
Yep.
Because Monster Energy is going to pay each one of you guys freaking $20,000 to show up, whatever, because this is the way that it is going to draw the most attention. Then guys will be like, okay, yeah, let's do it that way then. Like, let's do it that way. I don't care. I don't care if we don't use forward face or we do use forward face or whatever. Like, yeah, sure. I get paid $20,000 to show up. Hell yeah, I'm there. Like,
yeah, you
know what I'm saying? Like, just like golf, like, and the amount of money those guys make, which they still fuss about it. I'm sure they're like, wish they could do this, do that, whatever. But like, at the end of the day,
they still had a split.
Yeah.
Which proves to me that battle will never end. Like,
no, it won't. But just take it. Somebody take it to the point where it's like all this other stuff is almost irrelevant. You know, like it just, you know.
Yeah.
No, is everybody going to be happy? No. Like, is it going to be everybody's cup of tea? No. But like, at least make sense for the ones that are pulling that rope in that direction with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
that's another Boyd line too. You're dropping all the Boyd lines here today.
I am. Yeah.
No, and that's what I hope that Bass walks away from this year with some real info. You know, the viewership was affected in these ones. It wasn't affected in these ones. And I mean, that's also got to do with a lot of other things, but I just feel like as a sport, we all got to move in the right direction. And I appreciate you for doing this. I have one more question for you. Dakota Zachary Ebare. Not sure if that's your middle name, but I'm giving it to you right now. Are you going to win friggin' Angler of the Year this year?
I'm not that kind of guy.
And you're definitely not. Your middle name is not Zachary. You can confirm
No, my
that.
middle name is Dakota.
What's your?
I just tripped you out.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
So what's your first name?
Preston.
Oh, I'm calling you that from now on. Oh, God, that's so much better. Preston Dakota Ebare. Oh, God, you're Preston from now on.
No, I only get called Preston when I'm being a jackass. Don't do that.
So when did you decide no more Preston for me?
I've never been called Preston ever. Like, nobody ever called me Preston since the time I was a kid. My dad's name's Preston, so I don't. My mom always called me Dakota.
Okay, gotcha.
So, I've never. But I tell you what, I will never do. I don't know if I'm gonna have any more kids, but if I do, I swear I will never do. Advice to parents: I don't have any parenting advice to give you because I still don't know what I'm doing. But do not. I don't want to offend nobody, but I've been going by my middle name my entire life, and that is a challenge. like in school and everything else, and like on your everything, man. It's hard to go by your middle name.
Yeah, my dad did that too. My dad, my everybody knew my father when he was alive as Derek Mercer. That was not his name. And I am being a horrible son to even talk about this in a podcast. His actual name, I'm going to make you feel good about Preston.
I like Preston's fine.
His actual name was Stothard. Stothard Derek Mercer. So he went by Derek Mercer.
That would be cool now, though. Like, those kind of different names are like kind of cool now. I feel like. I don't know.
Yeah, if you have another kid, name him Stothard.
Yeah, sure. Name him after old Pop Mercer.
Dude, thanks for doing this. Always a great conversation. We had no plan, but I think it turned into a pretty decent conversation.
Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Byron's bunker. He tells a story and then sells you some stuff.
Byron's bunker back in your life. Byron Velvick, how the hell are you?
Dave, I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on this show again. I appreciate you doing this every month, man. This is awesome.
I appreciate you sticking with it. I mean, this is too much. We're at show number 2, Byron. I mean, we petered out last time. He disappeared. But this is strong. You called me, and you have ingested a pill of professionalism this last month.
Well, thank you. Yes, I'm following up. You say, get a hold of me a month later. I'm like, I'll reach out to you a month later. I mark it on my calendar. I mean, I got an ulterior motive. I got 10,000 pounds of fishing tackle to get rid of. And you're like, tell me a good story and sell all the stuff you'll never use again. So why not?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the big purge, Dave. It's the big purge.
Well, we'll hopefully help you continue to purge. But I appreciate it because last night when we texted, you said, I'm going to tell a story that I've never told before. Untold stories are always good for podcasts.
You know, that's funny. You're keeping me in check too. You're like, I'll mention a story. You're like, I saw that on your YouTube channel, your Byron Velvick fledgling YouTube channel, which makes me think you're one of the 28 people that have subscribed so far.
I do.
And you're doing your homework. So if I bring up a story, you're like, no, I'm going to call that one. You've already said that one. So no, this is one I've never told, Dave.
Well, what are we getting into this?
Well, it came. Okay, so little backstory. I know you're doing this. I'm trying to figure out this live streaming thing. I'm a fledgling live streamer too. And every week we go out to the local lake and we get out there and people are commenting. And it's cool because you get people from Australia and, and all over the United States and everything. And they're dropping in on my live stream and they're interacting. And Mike O'Shea from California. Do you know Mike O'Shea?
Silver Bullet.
Do you know Mike O'Shea?
Of course I do.
Silver Bullet. How do you know Mike O'Shea? What's the background of Silver Bullet?
Well, I mean, I know him from just from tournament. I mean, he was involved in a few of the TTBCs I emceed and stuff like that. And
yeah,
he did imbibe in a few Coors Lights over the years. So Silver Bullet.
Cool backstory. I get to see him. Skeet's having that big bass derby this month up in Clear Lake. And so I'm going to see O'Shea and Augusto, and Murray is bringing TJ. I'm taking Camber, but O'Shea drops in on the live stream and I'm interactive on my live stream. And that's a challenge and a half to do that. But we're out there on the lake and he goes, hey man, he goes, tell the story about your, about Lake Mojave when your steering cable broke. And Dave, that's one of those cool moments where I'm like, man, I haven't told that story in probably 15 years. But it goes back to what I said yesterday, which is, and I know you have these stories too, Dave. It's when we become a MacGyver on the lake. When stuff breaks and you're in a tournament and you don't have a choice but to try to figure out how to make it work so you can still catch a bass. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure you have those experiences.
Yeah, I mean, and it's amazing what people go through in the quest to catch a bass. I've run a Yamaha outboard for over 30 years. It has got me home safe each and every time. If you enjoy this podcast, remember, Yamaha supports it and they care enough about you to make this ad read very short. Now back to the show.
Yes. And the adversities, when all of a sudden something seems like it's a fatal blow, like you just got knocked out. And that's what happened with me at Lake Mojave.
Are you a handy guy, Byron?
No.
I'm not at all. Like all the tools in this house, my wife owns. Like I can't fix dinner.
Yeah. Yeah, another story for another day. But I blew a power head one time, and when they took the cowling off, I wanted to duct tape. The guy goes, "You got a hole in the side of your motor." You take the cowling, you see smoke coming out the side, and I'm thinking we could get some cardboard and some duct tape and patch it back up and still make it in. That's like another story for another day. But that's how unmechanical I am. If I got a blown power head, I'm just thinking about how to fix that.
You speak my language.
There you go. Well, I'm not mechanical. And that leads to what happened with this is that it's a red man tournament. It's a 1-day tournament at Lake Mojave. And we're down at Cottonwood, and I had some fish all up north of the power lines, which is way far away. Anyway, I know I'm being too technical here, but it's like a 25, 30-minute run. And I'm going to bounce around to a bunch of great areas. So I'm driving down the lake, Dave, and it's got to be back. I don't even know if it was cable steering, if it wasn't even hydraulic yet. It might have been cable steering back in the day. I'm pretty sure it was. And I'm in I think it was Jay Yellis's old Skeeter Starfire. And O'Shea's the one that reminded me about this because he saw this at the after part. But I'm driving down the lake in the morning with my guy. And I loved the Colorado River back then. I mean, it was Murray and Aaron was still not pumping gas at a gas station in high school at the time. It was back in the old days. And Dave, I'm running along, and all of a sudden the cable just breaks. The steering just goes out. And it was like being on a clown car at Disneyland. You know, when the wheel doesn't do anything? Like you can turn the wheel this way all you want and this way all you want. And that boat is just going straight. And it's starting to like turn. It's just making its own gradual turn. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this. And I got nothing. So I pull the throttle back and we come off pad, and the boat drops off pad into the side. It almost knocks us out. And then I turn the wheel and I look back, and the motor is just cocked sideways. And I'm like, dude, we have no steering at all. And I start the motor up, and it kill switch and everything. It's good. It runs, but it just goes around in circles right there. So I'm looking at it, and I'm like, dude, we can't do much now. We're kind of screwed. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you do, Dave?
You're screwed.
Well, that's what I was like. What are we going to do now? And I go to the back of the motor, and I can still move it. So I go, okay, listen, we're in trouble here. Why don't you get in the driver's seat? No. And you get the kill switch on, and I'm going to point it in the direction down the lake. And I'm bear hugging it, and I'm like looking. I go, okay, you ready? And he goes, yeah. I go, power, and he powers up, and I'm holding the motor, and we get up on pad. And once we get on pad, funny enough, I can start moving it. I can feel myself moving. I can move the motor. I'm back in the back with my life jacket on. He's got the kill switch on in the driver's seat, and I'm holding the motor, and I start driving, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we can actually do this. Like I can pick my spot. All he's doing is throttle. He's just sitting back there. He has a throttle. There's no point in having your hand on the wheel. So he's holding the throttle. I'm holding the motor, Dave. I'm holding the motor, and I steer it right towards the area near Cottonwood Cove, a marina area where I knew there were a bunch of release fish. And the whole area is like kind of known for being a good area. And I go, man, we're not going to be able to do this all day long. We're just going to have to go over there and fish. So I point the motor, Dave, right towards the marina area that's about 20 miles up the lake from where we went out of. And I pull up there, say, shut it off. And we pull up to the spot. And I put the trolling motor down. I go, guess we're going to fish here all day long. So for the whole day, we fished up and down and all around. I never turned the motor on again. And I caught the crap out of them. I had like 13, 14 pounds at Lake Mojave back then. That was a good limit. I'm calling 2-pounders. He's like, dude, we're going to do really good in this tournament. I go, yeah, we just got to make it back. And so we stay there till like 2:00 and weigh-in's like at 3:30. I'm like, I'm going to give us an hour to try to make it home. And I don't know, man. And now it's a little bit rough out there. Same exact thing. So we get up and he throttles it, and I hold this motor, Dave, and I start pointing it towards, and I'm bouncing, and I'm in the back, and slow down. And we come off pad, and I'm like, okay, coming off pad was not a good idea because there's so much torque on that motor that's trying to get up on the hole. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God. So we get up on pad the second time. Now we're driving down the lake, and I drive right by O'Shea sitting on a point, and I drive right by O'Shea, and he's sitting there looking at me like, what the hell is Byron doing? Is he trying to take a piss? Like he thinks I'm trying to pee out of the back of the boat. Everybody thought I was trying to take a thought I was trying to pee. And I'm holding the motor, and this guy's laughing his butt off. And we literally make it, there's no stopping. It's like once it's on pad, you better freaking pick where you want to stop, because the hardest part was the torque trying to get off pad and come off pad and on pad. So we get it to the marina, shut it down. I finished second in that tournament. That tournament, I finished second at Mojave, having broke my steering cable. And that's what I'm talking about. It's that MacGyver thing where you're done and you're ruined. And now you just got to you've got lemons. You better make some lemonade. And I forgot all about that story until I was out live streaming, and O'Shea goes, dude, you got to tell the story of bear hugging the motor driving down the lake. And I was like, oh my God, I haven't even thought about that for like 15 years. And that's where I'm digging these things. I'm like, and immediately I go, that's a Mercer story. Like, I have never told that story. Mercer will appreciate have you ever seen such a thing? Have you ever experienced?
No, I've never bear hugged a motor. I've had some people that got seasick and they're back there bear hugging a motor to hold on. But other than that, I've never had to steer. Like, you were the original, like, you know how you see those old boats where they had the shifter? Like, if you push forward on one shifter, it turns right. And then on the other shifter, it turns left. You were the original. You were just, it's wild though, to me. There's a unique thing with that. Like, it is amazing if you think back how many times you probably did well because something happened bad.
Right.
You know, like, you're stuck. Hey, you got no big motor. You got to fish what's in front of you. And it's kind of a lesson. Like, sometimes when you just slow down and you're stuck in one area,
and you as a tournament wayman, I mean, you must hear it all the time on stage where something goes wrong and they're broke down and they catch the crap out of them, or waiting for the lock, or they can't get in the lock, so they fish around the lock because they can't get into the lock, or whatever that is. Those stories, you must have hundreds of those stories.
Oh, the greatest ever is Jordan Lee, obviously. I mean, he broke down on the final day of the Bassmaster Classic and won on the spot. He broke it like, we'll just go fishing. You know how Jordan is, and sat there, broke down, and won the Bassmaster Classic, like on that very freaking spot. So,
wow. Or guys get lost in the fog. You know, I used to remember some guys, they'd let us out with too much fog, or you hit a fog bank and then you just stop and you see shoreline. You don't even know where you're at because it's so deep in the fog. So you're fishing in the fog, hoping not to get run over. And then the fog lifts and you're like, oh man, they're here. And you're catching them. And you're like, I drove by this spot a bunch of times and I'm sitting here in the fog catching the crap out of them. And the fog put me on that pattern. You know, I mean, those crazy stories, man.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. Fog is, I think, the scariest thing. And I also think the weirdest, like, for people running tournaments, I mean, we have fog delays, but I'm always like, it's just a fog delays kind of foolish because you have to do it, but you're also like, okay, the fog's clear. They leave and you turn around 3 corners and you're like, guess what? They're in the fog. You know, like it could be worse than it ever was. So it's weird. It's weird.
I've been there, man. I mean, I'm running down the Sacramento River at the Delta, and they do a fog delay. And Sacramento clears up, but the Delta is just socked in. And you got to run from Sacramento all the way down to the California Delta water area. And that's a good 40 minute ride to the first bass you can catch. You know, and to your point, you're being on a Sacramento River in a fog delay with 1 billion boats going down there. There's nowhere to hide. You're just hoping you don't get run over. And it was perfectly fine in Sacramento. But of course, halfway down, it's just as thick as you can ever be.
I'm going to bring you inside my mind. I'm going to let you know, I think you know me well enough to know that, like, a lot of times the things coming out of my mouth isn't what's going through my brain. Like, my head's all over the place. So when I was going to a tournament in my teens, and I stopped at this gas station, and every time I drive past that gas station to this day, I think of this old Asian lady, and we're going to have to beep this out because people are going to think I'm swearing and the internet's not going to like it. But I kind of am. So this lady, when she said fog, it didn't sound like fog. It sounded like another word that starts with F. So she walked out to, you know, it was a full serve gas. So she walks out while I'm out there. She goes, lots of everywhere. How are you driving with so much? And so I swear to you, every time anybody at a tournament, like, when I say we're in a fog delay, through my head I'm hearing lots of everywhere.
Oh That's a great one. Oh my God, that's funny as hell. Yeah, my daughter's right now. My daughter's watching Meet the Fockers right now, so I'm very good because that's every day right now. We're working on fishing tackle. I got my daughter. It's school's out, so it's summer. So I give her these big bins of tackle. I'm like, hey, this is all eBay stuff, and so she's watching Meet the Fockers because there's a new one coming out. Yeah. And so she's watched the whole trilogy up till now, and I'm like, because of course she's only of age now where she can watch it and understand the humor of Meet the Foggers. Meet the Foggers. I'm never going to hear that again now. I'm going to hear
I don't think I've ever told that story on, when it recorded. I mean, I've told some people standing around, but yeah, no, that lady, I mean, she was quite elderly at the time, so I'm sure she's not with us anymore. But it's amazing how little things like that happen in your life. Like that was I just pulled in the gas, and me and the buddy that I was with, thought it was hilarious how she said it, and I've never forgotten it. So,
hey, did you guys do you remember the story of Norio Tanabe when he got up on stage at Kentucky Lake and he dropped an F-bomb because he didn't know very much English? Ray Scott was interviewing him.
No.
So Norio Tanabe is hanging out with me and Mark Kyle and Murray and Brad Height, and we're all hanging out together. And Norio Tanabe's from Japan.
Perfect people to learn English from.
You know where I'm going with this, man. And so F-bombs are common. Norio speaks this much English, so he doesn't know. He doesn't have a filter. And he won Kentucky Lake, and they had the delay on the second day. They delayed the second day. Rick Clunn was leading it. I drew Rick Clunn on the third day. And Norio gets up on stage with Ray Scott at that tournament, and he goes, oh, yeah. He goes, well, it was rough out there, but you still caught him. And Norio wins, and Ray Scott's really happy that we got a Japanese angler. And, of course, Norio, yeah, water really fogged up. But didn't say fog into the microphone. And Ray looks over at me and Murray and Kyle because we're like, oh my God, we're standing right there next to the stage, and we had thrown way too many fog bombs out. Fog bombs out for Norio. And Norio just thought it was just regular old English. And Ray was like, who the hell are you running with, boy?
Tell you what you need to do. You need to get away from them West Coasters with their filthy mouth.
Well, that's a fact. There's very little Bible Belt running down California, Nevada, Arizona borders. It isn't. They don't have a. We have a pretty wild. And of course, Norio, that was the second language to him. So for dropping F-bombs to Norio was just part of the conversation.
Yeah, maybe he was just talking about the fog.
Yeah, it was really. There was no fog on Kentucky Lake, though. And it was as Asian as your lady. It was like very fine. I could not believe it. Boom.
Oh wow! So we've definitely told a bunch of stories on this Byron's Bunker. What are we selling this? We're selling everything, Byron. I noticed not only are you selling tackle, but you're selling a house.
Oh, you saw that?
I did.
Yeah, I got the house at Del Rio, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I got a guy coming Friday to look at it, but it's right. Denny Brower still lives there, and I got that house, and my daughter's in school. She's got sports, and I never go there. It's on 10.5 acres, and so like you can hunt on this thing. There's deer walking all over the property. A lot of my whitetail hunting friends, they go there, stay at my house, and shoot these beautiful deer that live on the national park line. So the house is on the national park line. So I promoted it last night again that I got a house I never go to and I don't need it. And somebody needs to stay there and hunt there and fish there. The fishing's awesome, but I can't even get down there to fish anymore. Like I'm live streaming every week now at Canyon Lake or some lake around here. I'm trying to do interactive live streaming. So I don't need that house. And so, yeah, I put the house up for sale. So thank you for mentioning that, but it's sitting on 10.5 acres and it's an estate property. Someone's going to build a big, beautiful house on there. And like I said, Denny Brower, I'm going there Friday. So I'll see Denny, Dave. I'll see Denny on Friday. Because I sold a bunch of his stuff on eBay. I hope he's not watching, but I got to give him some money because a bunch of his reels and a bunch of his stuff just got sold. And he gave it to me like 2 years ago. And he put it in a big box. And I dug out my boxes. I find a whole Denny Brower box. And so I love showing up at his house and just saying, here's $300 or $400 or $500 cash for all this stuff I've sold on eBay. That was his. It's his old stuff.
People like you when you show up with bearing gifts like that, I'm sure.
Money he doesn't even know is coming. He doesn't even know I'm going to do it, but I'm going to show up Friday and give him some cash and knock on his door. And Camber likes Denny, and so we'll go inside and visit and see him and Shirley. So I'm going there to show the house to a guy. I got a guy looking to buy it. Hopefully he does, but I still put the thing out there because I think somebody watching this show or in the audience of hunting and fishing, that's the person that's going to buy that house, not somebody in Del Rio. It's not a local realtor kind of thing. It's more of a social media sell. So thank you for mentioning it.
Yeah, come on, Humpers, buy the house. I mean, if nothing else, I could be like, this podcast doesn't do a lot, but it sold a house once.
That would be, dude. You're going to get the biggest realtor commission. You're going to get a solid 3% of the sale. If somebody signs the contract and says, "I bought it off of I'm a humper," I'm going to take them fishing on Amistad 2 or 3 times, and you're going to get 3%.
All right, deal, make it happen. So if they don't have the budget for the house, and they're looking to buy some other stuff for Byron's Bunker, what kind of neat stuff do you have here this month?
You know, Dave, I'm kind of following the season, and I know guys are talking about deep cranking right now, and so I even brought some of them. But, Mans is out of business, and so these are like custom colored Mans 20 pluses. I got 30 pluses and 20 pluses, and like I said, Mans doesn't even exist anymore. So what I'm doing right now is I'm digging through, and I'm just trying to figure out what people want for this time of year, because it's so cool that a bunch of the humpers are reaching out to me saying, "Hey, do you have," one guy reached out to me and said, "Do you have any of the old Lure Jensen speed traps before Rapala bought them?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I got some of those." So I put those up on auction. And these are Lure Jensen speed traps, pre-Rapala, pre-Pradco, some of the other stuff. Vixens. Somebody told me that Topwater, they want the Reaction Innovation Vixen. Again, all of this discontinued, man. It's crazy. The Baby 1 minuses are selling for about $40 a piece now for that little nugget. I mean, the Baby 1 minuses, it's like there's Mans, Berkeley. I got some new stuff too, but what's really, really cool, I want to thank every one of the humpers out there. A lot of them bought stuff and I threw a bunch of other stuff in. But if I know what they're buying, I add stuff to it. So if the guy seems to be like a topwater guy, I'll throw some extra topwaters in. If the guy seems to be a soft plastic creature bait guy and he bought a bunch of my soft plastics, like my old Berkeley Burley Hog or the Burley Brush Hog or the Pulse Worm or the Chigger Craw, the Chigger Chunk, all this other Berkeley stuff, and the Live Target. Some of your fans are Live Target people. It's been fun. I've just been throwing down a lot of stuff and I'm giving it away. Basically, I start at like $7 for 7 days, which includes free shipping. So if somebody buys it and it doesn't really, I let the market name the price. But if it doesn't sell and it's $7 at the end of the auction, I'm basically putting in a package and giving it to you for the cost of shipping it. So it's just, I'm not even making money on some of it, but then some of the stuff I make a lot of pretty good money on it and I just can't use it. I'll never throw a Baby 1 minus around here, but there's guys that are crazy for these double stamped. They have a stamp on each side, and that's like some bar of gold when it says Baby 1 minus on one side and Mans on the other. And I think the audience is teaching me, like your fan base is telling me stuff because they're telling me this got discontinued, or, I haven't seen these in a long time, or do you happen to have this color Cinco, the old Cincos, not the new ones, but the vintage Cincos from Page, Arizona. And it's been fun. So I might put some jerseys up eventually. I might put some other stuff up. I got some reels up there. Some guy wants to buy rods and he bought like 6 rods or 8 rods from me. And I'm not even advertising rods because they're hard to ship and they're hard to sell. That's a tough one to ship. It gets scary if they break, Yeah,
and they're tough to ship, tough to package up. But that's about the only thing he doesn't sell, ladies and gentlemen, from Baby 1 minuses to Bass Haven houses. You can buy it at Byron's Bunker.
I just want to thank all the humpers, man. I mean, you guys are awesome, and your audience is great. They're supportive. Messaging me on Byron's Bunker is the best way to get a hold of me. And I mean, some guys ask me about the house on Byron's Bunker. They'll message me on eBay and say, "Can you send me a link to the details on the house?" So, man, thank you for your audience, Dave. They're awesome people.
No problem, dude. Thank you for your stories. Thank you for your support of the show. And make sure to follow this dude. I'll put a link to your YouTube and, of course, your eBay. Byron's Bunker.
Hey, I want I want to get you on the show sometime, dude. If this live streaming thing takes off, I really have a vision of you and I being on a boat, because I want to start having guests on the live stream where we just go out fishing and talking to the audience, because it's interactive. So I want you to be on the boat and people can just sit and talk to us while we're out on the boat together. And I think this is kind of a really cool venture. And man, I would love if you get anywhere near Texas, or I don't know when you're coming this direction or getting even close to me, but I'd come
until
to you
it cools off a little.
Yeah. Well, you're going to North Carolina is not going to be cool, dude.
No, and I'm going reluctantly. Trust me, I love the fine people of Elizabeth City, North Carolina, but I like them better in May. I'll be honest.
Because it's going to be blowing and hot.
Yeah.
Like a blow dryer in Dave Mercer's face.
I haven't had one of those in my face for a long time, Byron, believe it or not.
I just wear the hat now. This holds there's a wig. There's a wig of hair.
I was just thinking that's the best thing about your look, Byron. You adapted it early. Like if your hair does go, which it hasn't, it's phenomenal, your hair. But if your hair does go, it doesn't ever have to go. I mean, you just throw on the original visor.
That's it. Put a wig on top of it. I mean, Skeet's laughing because this is getting higher and higher. You know, I cut these hats, right?
Yeah.
And Skeet goes, dude, you keep cutting them higher and higher because it is fading back that way. So now it's a big visor Camus hat been cut, but it used to be a lot narrower when I had a better hairline. But it's running away from me, dude. It is running away from me.
Yeah, I can tell. Screw you, okay?
Oh, man, dude.
Thanks, dude.
Safe travels, brother. Say have good luck in North Carolina. Enjoy that heat and that wind. I'll be watching you.
All right.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Always good stuff from Byron the bear hugger Velvick. I mean, who knew that he once bear hugged an outboard motor to make it back at a tournament? Tournament anglers will do crazy things. Always a great time on Byron's Bunker. Make sure to check out Byron's Bunker on eBay. Follow him on YouTube. I'll try to put the links down below in the description and the comments. And always a great conversation with Dakota Ebare. I look forward to catching up with him this week in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. It has been a phenomenal few weeks at home. I've been all over the place. Been at Beauchene. Want a special shout out to the fine humpers that I ran into there and said hello there. Always great to meet humpers on the road. And I look forward to meeting some of you in North Carolina. My time at home is over. It's time to return to the hot box that is the Bassmaster Elite Series, but it will be a fun event. Make sure to tune in Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If you're in the area, swing by for weigh-in. Come say hello. Tell me you're a humper. I love meeting all you guys, and thanks for watching. This is the part of the show where I have to remind you, be good, people. Everybody is fighting a battle. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. Everybody's battling something. So humpers, go out there in the world and be kind. Try make an effort to be kind. I mean, you can't do it all the time. I mean, I proved that this week. Had a trucker totally lose his mind on me because the lane I was in was ending and I was moving over. I don't know if he knew the lane was ending, but absolutely went ballistic. Guess he was having a bad day. And I probably wasn't very nice to him, so sorry. Ironically, I mean, one of my pet peeves is truckers that don't move over. And ironically, a trucker got mad at me for moving over. Go figure. But hey, that was just that one dude. All you truckers, do we have any truckers to watch? Let us know in the comments. I'm sure we do. We thank you all the fine people in the world. Be kind, spread happiness, smile, and make the world a better place. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all those things that help stroke the algorithm. Thank you for listening each and every week. If it feels like I'm jamming this show and these segments in between swims and fishing, that's because I am. And I got to go knock some water out of my ear and get on a flight. Enjoy being. Have a great week. And as always, Bob Cobb, take it away.
Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe because Bob Cobb of the Bassmasters told you to. You hear?